Lacey, Mr. Krim.
Ed, 3 beers.
Coming up.
We're celebrating the appointment of our new school teacher.
I'm very pleased, Jim. I think the council made a good choice.
Thanks, Mr. Lacey. This job means a lot to me and my wife.
You know, he had 2 years at a very fine college in Vermont, Mr. Lacey.
Yeah?
As before the war.
You think school teaching will be more to your liking than ranching?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but with this crowd, a man's got to find some way to take care of his family, and I'm indeed grateful.
Well, here it is.
You the new school teacher?
That's right, I'm Jim Bradford.
Ain't that a job for women?
That's a matter of opinion.
Bradford. Yankee, too, ain't you?
Yeah?
2 things I don't like. Yankees and men school teachers.
Just a minute, Burke.
Stay out of this, banker. Ain't nothing lower than a bluebelly.
What's the matter with you, Burke? The war's over.
Maybe for you, Krim, not for me. How about it, bluebelly? What do you got to say for yourself? When I talk to you, Yankee, you look at me. No gun. Teacher. I believe in letting a man have a chance. Come sundown, I'm going to be out there on that street looking for you. You better run, Yankee. I'll be wearing a gun.
From out of the West, Dick Powell's Zane Grey Theater.
So, by that time, I'd had about all I could take. When he grabbed me like that, I hit him. When he landed, he went for his gun.
But you weren't armed.
Fortunately, that fact finally penetrated his thick skull, and he put it back.
Then what happened?
Well, he gave me a choice. Put on a gun or get out of town by sundown.
That's less than an hour.
I know.
Oh, my poor darling. Oh, we'll make it. I'll pack and we'll be gone before then.
I'm not going.
You can't stay. He'll kill you.
Maybe.
Jim, that man Burke is a gunslinger. Nobody in town can stand up to him.
I'm going to try.
But you haven't got a chance.
Have you forgotten I used to be in the army? I can use a gun.
Firing a gun as a soldier and drawing against a man like that are 2 different things. Jim, even I can outshoot you.
Don't you know what this job means to us? The difference between keeping the ranch and losing it. It's the only job I could find in the only town close enough so I could still do some work on the place.
Oh, I know why you want to stay. So do I. But, darling, the ranch isn't that important. Nothing is.
I can't run.
Of course you wouldn't run if there was only yourself to think of.
If I left now, do you think I could ever feel like a man again?
So that's it. Your pride. Your stubborn New England pride. You're my husband, you're Bridget's father, and we want you alive, with or without your pride.
It's not pride. It's... I don't know. But if I run now, where will it end? The next town? Or will I have to run again because somebody doesn't like the color of my eyes? A man could end up running for something every day of his life.
Tell me again, why did you hit him?
What good'll it do to go over it? It won't change anything.
Jim, I'm trying to see why it is that you're willing to risk your life. If I can, maybe I'll believe you have the right to do it.
Lucy, haven't you been listening to me? Don't you understand anything I've been trying to say?
I only understand one thing. I love you. You're all I've ever wanted. Without you... Jim, we're not a couple of kids. We waited a long time for each other. I'm thankful for the time we've had. The child I never thought I'd have. I don't want it to end like this.
Lucy, if there were any other way, I'd...
Go to Burke. Apologize to him.
Apologize? He's not the kind of man you apologize to. You just take it as a sign of weakness. Honey, believe me, I'm not being a hero. I'm scared. But I cannot run.
Jim, have you forgotten? I was only a few years older than Bridget when I saw my father and brother killed in a town just like this. Killed over some crazy thing I can't even remember. It can't happen to her.
That's exactly why I'm doing it. Somebody has to draw the line. There are too many Burkes in too many towns like this.
You're willing to die for a principle. If I can't understand it, how will I ever explain it to her? Well, she's luckier than I was. She's still a baby. In a year, you'll only be a memory. In 2 years, she will have forgotten you completely. Jim, how long do you think it'll be before I'm tired of being by myself?
Lucy, please. There's nothing else I can do. I cannot run.
Thank heaven you're back.
I kind of thought that you'd be gone by now.
And you know what happened.
Charlie Crim told me. And it's a shame. Sure is.
What are you going to do about it, Sheriff?
Jim ain't thinking to stay, is he?
I can't make him go.
He oughtn't to stay, ma'am.
You're not going to stand by and watch him be murdered.
Now, just a minute. As long as they both face each other, both of them wearing guns, ain't nobody can call it murder.
What else can you call it? Jim hasn't fired a gun since the war, and Burke is a professional.
He oughtn't to stay.
Oh, stop saying that. Do something.
Now, look, if this was happening back east, I could arrest one of them, or both of them if need be. Put them in jail till they cooled off. Things aren't like that out here. If I was to try to arrest Burke before he did anything wrong, why, I'd end up in a shootout.
You're the sheriff.
That's right. My job is to keep drunks from tearing up this town or riding their horses along the boardwalk.
But not to prevent a man from being killed.
Miss Bradford, this is a territory, not a state. There ain't no real law here. Me, I'm a kind of a hired bodyguard for this town. But there ain't no real law. And there ain't a way in the world I can arrest a man before he does anything wrong. Now, I like Jim. And I'm sorry to hear that he's in this trouble. But the only thing I can tell you is get him out of town.
He'll be out there at sundown.
Got a lot of spunk here, Jim. And there ain't none of us want to see him go. But you can tell him from me, there ain't no one gonna look down on him for running. Not from a man like Burke.
Well, do you tell him that, Sheriff? You talk to him. Maybe he'll listen to you.
No, he's got a mind he's got made up. There ain't nothing I can do to make him change it.
Well, won't you try? That's all I ask.
Besides, the way I figure it, prideful man, if he wants to, he deserves a chance to die like one.
That's the most senseless thing I've ever heard. Why does he deserve it? Because it's a brave thing to do? Because he's satisfying some crazy idea of honor? Is that why?
That ain't exactly what I meant, ma'am.
That's not the brave way, Sheriff. It's the easy way. Any coward can die. It takes courage to live.
I just ain't got the authority.
Well, then who has? There must be somebody in this whole town who can stop Burke.
No one man can stop him. Maybe if I had...
But if you had what? What?
I'd need help. Now, Mr. Lacey's the most important man in this town. Let him and some of the others back me up. If I can promise that a rope will be waiting for the one left alive, maybe that'll make Burke think twice. But I've got to have the authority and tell them they got to be able to make it stick.
Still here?
He was. He said he'd be back. Bradford left town yet?
Not yet. I've been watching.
It's getting awful late. You suppose he ain't going?
You crazy. Bradford isn't out of this town by sundown. He might as well cut his own throat.
You know, it don't seem right to me somehow. This Bradford's a nice enough fella. No reason he should have to be run out of town just 'cause Burke don't like him.
Why don't you tell it to Burke?
You know what I mean. Burke's been riding herd on this town for long enough. It's time somebody cut him down to size.
Mm-hmm. You gonna do the cutting?
It'll take more than one man to do that job.
Supposing a bunch of us got together. He's only got one gun.
Sure, but who's going to lead this mob you're talking about? You?
Yeah, that one gun talks awful loud.
Still don't seem right to me.
No argument out of me on that.
Here he comes.
Give us a couple of beers, huh, Ed?
Yeah,
A
sure.
couple more beers there.
Sure.
Mrs. Bradford.
May I come in?
Of course. I expected you'd be gone before this.
Mr. Lacey.
You're cutting it too thin. Burke said sundown, but what's to prevent him from acting sooner?
Mr. Lacey, Jim's not going.
Not going? Well, that's ridiculous.
I know I've told him. I've pleaded with him, but he won't budge.
Has he gone crazy? Look, you tell your husband I said he's got to go.
Mr. Lacey, I've tried everything.
Well, in that case, there isn't much else we can do. We can't force Jim to leave.
No, but you can stop Burke.
How?
The sheriff said if you'd give him the authority and back him...
The sheriff. It seems to me the sheriff is dodging his responsibilities. This is rightfully in his province. He's supposed to keep law and order. What did he hope to accomplish by sending you here?
Mr. Lacey, you're the most important man in Salt Creek. People respect you. If you get them together and talk to them...
Nobody's going to fight Jim's battle just because he's too pig-headed to listen to reason.
It's not only Jim's battle. Doesn't the town care what's happening when a man like Burke can walk in...
Mrs. Bradford, there'll be no trouble for anybody if you'll just convince your husband to be sensible. Actually, he's as much to blame as Burke.
What?
He did strike the man. Oh, I'll admit Burke was insulting, but Jim should learn to control his temper. Why, if I took exception to everything people said
Mr.
about
Lacey,
me...
I don't care who's right or who's wrong. My husband's going to die.
I'm just a banker. I hold no official position in this town.
But if you and the others would get behind the sheriff, you could stop Burke. The whole town will follow a man like you.
But even if they would, I couldn't in all conscience ask my friends to fight a professional gunman just because Jim is too stubborn to leave. Have you talked to Charlie Crim?
No.
You should have seen him first. Charlie's head of the town council. If there's any action to be taken, Charlie's the one to talk to them.
Yes, yes.
If there was anything further I could do, I'd be happy to do it, but my hands are tied.
Mr. Crim, Jim won't leave.
He don't have a prayer. Don't he know he's a dead man?
You're the only one who can help us.
Me? What can I do, Miss Bradford? One man ain't gonna stop Burke.
Mr. Lacey said you could. He said you could do it. You're head of the council. Mr. Crim, talk to the men. Get them together. Burke can't stand against the whole town.
It's too late for that. Even if there was time, how many men you think I could round up who'd be willing to face Burke?
Don't they know this could happen to any one of them?
Till they do, they'll figure it's no concern of theirs.
Oh, of course not. It's nobody's concern but Jim's and mine. And when he's shot down, the whole town will be looking the other way. Maybe if they hide long enough, Burke will disappear.
Miss Bradford.
Oh, please, Mr. Crim. You're the only one left. What?
Burke won't gun Jim unless he comes out in the street. I'm gonna see that Jim stays in his hotel room if I have to bend this barrel around his skull. right there. Maybe Jim got smart and let...
Expect to see you, Yankee.
I'm here.
Oh, you can't.
You should have ran.
Let's get it over with.
I didn't think you'd have the guts to meet me, Yankee. Let's say this squares us. Besides, I don't reckon I can fight the whole family.
Darling, forgive me. I'd have killed him if I thought it would help, but you'd have hated me for that. Jim, forgive me. Please forgive me. Oh, I love you so.
Come on, Lucy. Let's go home.